Good evening, everybody. My name is Carole and I'm running for County Commissioner for the southern half of Sterling Heights, which is District 4. So I don't know if there are many people in here for that district, but you probably have friends or relatives that live down there and tell them to vote for me. A little bit of my background. I'm not from Macomb County originally. I'm from Detroit, born and raised in Detroit, but moved to Macomb County in 1981 to Sterling Heights, and we're still in the same house. I worked my way through school, through college. I had to work my way through college. And I'm the first person in my family to go to college and to graduate. And I ended up having a master's degree finally. I went to Wayne State University, got on the bus every day and went down to Wayne State. I didn't have a car, couldn't afford a car. We had 7 people in our family and one income, my dad working as the machinist. I became a teacher. But there were no teaching jobs, so I continued working with computers. I did key punch, data entry, and learned to operate computers. So I worked at a couple steel companies, a steel treating plant, a steel shipping plant, and then finally I worked at Pepsi-Cola Corporation for 5 years for the Michigan headquarters in Troy. And we manage a lot of different states for Pepsi-Cola. And then they said in 1989, they said teaching is opening up, so I went back to teaching, or went to teaching. And I taught for about 17 and a half years, about 5 years, and then I retired because things started to get a little worse with Governor Snyder in there, and I thought, oh, something's going to happen to my paycheck, and lo and behold, it did the very next year. They took 3% out of all the teachers. So luckily I escaped that. I've always been interested in unions because my dad, when I was a kid, I remember distinctly my mother talking to him and saying, okay, don't talk about unions when you go to this job. He got fired from several jobs for trying to start a union in small machine shops, and he never could. He kept getting fired, so finally he said, oh, okay. She says, you have 7 mouths to feed, so stop this nonsense. So he ended up working in Taylor in a small machine shop. But when I had a chance to join unions, I decided I'm going to join, absolutely. And I'm a very strong pro-union person. I became the union building rep in my building. I worked in Detroit Public Schools for about 6 years. I subbed for a little over 3 years before that. And then I ended up working 10 more years in Clinton Township, in Clintondale schools. And so I was the building union rep for the last 4 years, and then I decided to retire. When I retired, I thought, I really want to get more involved in politics because I've always been interested in social justice. When I was just 17 when I got out of high school and started Wayne State, that was in 1969. And lo and behold, several buses came to Wayne State and said, we're picking up students to take them to Washington, D.C. to march against the war in Vietnam. And so I got on the bus at the tender age of 17 with friends of mine, and we went to Washington and marched against the war in Vietnam. Not against the soldiers, but just against the war itself. So I've always been interested in social justice too, all kinds of things. Being a teacher, you have a lot of students come in that are impoverished, especially in Detroit, and where I taught in Clinton Township also. Kids came in, they had one outfit of clothing that I saw this one child wear for a whole semester. I think one time he changed clothes, and he was very thin. Kids would come in starving, not having meals and things like that, so I'm always interested in that. So when I retired, I got more involved in politics. And there was no club in Sterling Heights, so I joined the North Macomb Dems, and lo and behold, I found a friend of mine. When I was subbing in L'Anse Cruz, I subbed in his school, I think for almost a whole year, I believe, for the 2 art teachers. One had a baby and the other one had a heart attack. And so I subbed the whole year there. And I got more involved in politics and kept coming to this club. And then another friend of mine, Pat Bellinger, she said, well, we should start a club in Sterling Heights. And I said, yeah, you're right. I heard there was one years ago, but apparently they had a lot of arguments in that club many years ago, and they just disbanded. So she and I started the club in Sterling Heights, but then she became a grandma, and her grandchild was out of state. So she said, Carole, you've got to take over. So now I'm the chair of the Sterling Heights Democratic Club, but I'm also the treasurer for this club. I'm a member of the Warren Area Dems, because they're not too far away, and I have friends there, and I'm a member of the Macomb Democratic Club. Not only did I do that, but I thought I wanted to be a delegate to the National Convention. So twice I've done that. I did it in 2012, went to North Carolina to work for and to support Barack Obama, and that was an amazing convention. It was a lot of fun. It was just great. It was really neat. And then I went to the one in Philadelphia, 2016, to support first Bernie Sanders, but then to support Hillary Clinton. So I'm real proud of my activism, and I gave money to the Michigan Democratic Party and said, yeah, I want to be I'm giving money like an activist. And I have been really active this past year, and they decided to reward me by inviting me to the legacy dinner, and I got a little award, this little paper award, like the 2 people from every district in the state. 5 minutes. Okay, and I really don't have a whole lot more to say except that I am, well, let's see. My platform, I really have so many interests because I had a major in art, major in fine art, but I have a minor in humanities, a minor in social studies, a minor in science. So I have my hand in a lot of different topics, a lot of different subjects, plus elementary certification. So I'm really interested in a lot of things as Macomb County Commissioner. We would sit on every commission that there is. But I would say, I've been told, well, you've got to focus on 3 things. Okay, that's really hard, but okay, veterans, taking care of veterans because they wait so long for benefits. They wait long to go, all kinds of benefits. So many veterans commit suicide. I was reading that there are 20 every day in the country. 20 veterans every day in the country commit suicide. Many of them are on the SNAP program, which is being taken away. That's food stamps, okay? Supplemental nutrition, and I forget what the rest of it means, but it's food stamps. And they want to get rid of food stamps. Well, so many of our veterans, they say, oh, the Republicans will say, well, we are so patriotic, and we believe in veterans so much, but they want to starve them. So they really are not very patriotic as far as I'm concerned. Also, I want to work for seniors and for roads, fix the roads. I'm glad Mr. Tolbert was talking about the different combinations that they put to fix the roads. Yeah, the roads can be fixed a whole lot better than they are. And we do not have to keep supporting the same groups that are fixing the roads because we're giving them a job constantly. They're constantly working on this, and it's really driving everybody kind of nutty. Friends of mine have torn off the tires of their car recently, hit something in a pothole. I'm afraid my car is going to, get all out of whack because I'm going to the right and the left and bumping like everybody else in here is. And then the other thing I would try to work on more, concentrate on, is, let me see, seniors, veterans, roads, and the opioid crisis, which I've been reading about a lot. I have 2 friends of mine, one lost a son, one lost a daughter. 2 years ago, the son was lost, and they were both about 25 years old only. And so that really hits home, because it hits a lot of us at home, really. And so many things can be done about that. We can have drug courts. We can talk to the pharmaceutical companies, which are supplying so many more drugs than they really need to in so many cities, like an oversupply, like they talked about in West Virginia, but they're doing that all over the country. And there could be a whole lot better treatment too. We don't need to punish drug addicts, but we do need to take care of them and figure out what is causing this. And really what's causing a lot of the drug problems are just the lack of not ambition, but lack of jobs, lack of good housing, lack of food, all kinds of things, lack of education, and so we need a lot more of that. And I guess that would be it. So if you know anybody that lives in the southern half of Sterling Heights, please tell them to vote for me, Carole Chi. That's Carole with an E, and no, there's no E on the word Chi, it's C-H-I. Are there any questions? Thank you very much.